Hello and welcome to another My Side of the Mountain podcast. My name is Brad, and in this series, we're talking about being a better man. I think this is number 8. Yeah, it'll be in the description, but I think it's 8. So, if you're binging this, which I really hope you are, that would be awesome, you'll realize that the sun has moved a little bit. It is not casting distracting shadows. And Carl and I took my advice and we went out and took a walk through the woods. Went through, I got just gorgeous property. So blessed. Absolutely blessed. I got trees and I have views of the mountain, and it drops off from the top of my property down to the bottom of the property like 150 feet. The leaves are on the trees, but I can still, it's stunning. I have waterfalls that only run when it rains, but the rocks are there, and and Carl just went nuts. He just ran through the woods. It's a little scary because it does drop off, but it's not scary anymore. It was in the beginning when we first moved here, but he knows what he's doing. He's fine. He's laying, yep, right there at my feet, and he stopped huffing and puffing because he's a little bit out of shape. But let's continue. I keep, when I squint, I'm trying to see the time, and I don't know. Maybe this one will be a little shorter. Probably not. Oh, there comes the sun again. I spoke too soon. It's beautiful here today. Little humid, but I don't care about that. The temperature is perfect. The sun is shining. The green, the browns, it's just gorgeous. Come on and visit me. Message me and I will send you the address. I got plenty of room for one or two people. Anyway, I realized that I don't want to prep for the next video, which is this video. And I'm seeing my batteries are dead, almost dead. So you know what? I'm going to pause right here. I can't because my mic. Anyway, let's use the battery to determine how long this podcast is. That'll be exciting. I learned that I don't like to prep, so we're going to flip the page from the chapter we just covered and see what's next. Good one. They're all good. Buy the book. Links in the description on Amazon. It's like $9.95 for priceless information. All right, let me read the quote. This is from Steve Jobs. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with who Steve Jobs is. He's the founder of Apple. Management is about persuading people to do things they do not want to do. I got to reread that because I jumped ahead in my brain. Management is about persuading people to do things they don't want to do, while leadership is about inspiring people to do the things they never thought they could. See the difference between management and leadership? As I reflect, because I like to tell stories of my past, that's what this is about. Giving a little overview of the book, but describing why and who and why I did everything or am who I am and why I wrote what I wrote. I used to be a manager. Not in a job sense, but in a life sense. I would manage my wife. I would manage my children. I would manage my friends. If you can't tell, a little sense of regret flowed over me there. You can't go back. You can't go back and fix it. I don't wish I could because it made me who I am today. But given the opportunity, I would have done things different. Therefore, that's why I'm doing things different now. Now, I lead my kids. I lead my friends. I lead in a relationship. let's cover the difference. So it doesn't matter if you are a CEO of a company or a little league coach or a husband or a father. You lead somebody. Somebody looks to you for guidance. And that's what leading is about, guidance. I just came up with that. Might not be true. I don't know. Let's figure it out. There's somebody in your life that looks to you for leadership, for advice, for something. So no matter who you are, if you're watching this, you're leading somebody, unless you're like 12. Even then, you might have a little brother or little sister. They're looking to you for leadership. Sorry, try to keep it short. Battery's going to die. So how do we do that? How do we lead properly? How do we lead in a godly way? I cover more of that. And I'm trying to rush through this, guys, so I can get to the really important stuff. This is secular stuff. This is stuff that you can do, Christian or not. If you just want to be better, follow this advice. But leadership is covered in the, we'll get to it. Lead by example. So you can say, be at work at 9 o'clock and do this, this, and this. But if you're not doing it, if you're not showing the people your actions speaking louder than your words, it works for a while. I'm on my second cup of coffee if you've been binging this. It works for a while. Do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. But if you want to be a good leader, you gotta set the example. Make a decision. Oh, talked about this in the last one, but here's where I talk about former Secretary of State Colin Powell's has a 40-70 rule. Hey, I actually got the percentages right in the last video. His rule of thumb of making decisions. He says you should have no less than 40% and no more than 70% of the information you need to make a decision. If you make a decision with less than 40%, you are shooting from the hip, and you may make a mistake. If you want to have more than 70% of the information, then the opportunity has usually passed, or somebody or something has made the decision for you. You can't know everything. Again, I'm going to plug Laura Tidwell's book, The Freedom in Knowing You're Not Free, link in the description. Decisions, if you try, you can't know everything. You can't know in a relationship. You can't know everything about that person's past. You can know a lot. The longer you're with somebody, the more you talk, the more you share experiences, you can learn a lot, but you can't know everything. And you have to make choices on how to act, what to say, that are based on today, right now. And they might be right. If you have more than 40% of the information, you might get it right. If you wait until you have 70% of the information, or all of it, because you can't, then it's not going to make you have a better choice. Laura says that everything, and I agree with her, that everything, that who you are right now is based on a bunch, unfathomable amount of information from the past. Literally like a second ago. Or your past. New information presents itself, you change. You have new information now. So, digressing, sorry. Download her book. Communication. We're talking about leadership still. Communication, talking about your vision, your issues, and the positive things that happen in a clear way is important to getting your point across. Nonverbal cues, eye contact, tone of voice, they all impact how people perceive you. My tone of voice, apparently, according to others, and in hindsight they were right, my tone of voice would be demanding, management, 95% of the time I didn't mean it that way. There were times I had to correct my kids, and I used a tone of voice that made them realize that I was serious. But that tone of voice came out when I was talking to my wife or a friend or, just conversation, and it seemed like I was looking down on people. And as I look back, probably at the time I was, because if you weren't as smart as I am, if you couldn't give me something, I didn't respect you. And that showed. But I try today to communicate, and I almost went, because a lot of my communication is through text. I try to communicate. I'll write something out, and I'll be like, that just comes across mean, and I'll back it up and rephrase it. You can't always do that in conversations, so you have to be aware of your tone of voice, and your frown, and your squinting, and your whatever, your angry look. Because maybe you don't want to project that. Maybe you got something else going on in your brain that's projecting onto the situation. And the person you're talking to is receiving that negativity from something they don't know about, but they're perceiving it as you being mean. Good listening skills. Wow. This book is my life, basically. I would interrupt. I would interject my opinion on somebody before they were done explaining the situation, and it didn't turn out good a lot of the times. So having good listening skills, let the person finish talking. Ask questions. I'm pretty sure I'm going to cover this at some point, but don't just listen, but hear. That's like management and leadership. There's a difference. I can listen to you, but do I hear you? Do I put it in context? Do I relate it to and receive it how you meant to project it? And that's a lot of times people got it wrong with me, but that was my fault. But listen, be a good listener. Excuse me. Passion and commitment. Enthusiasm can inspire others, but commitment is what drives results. I can say that, I'm going to do this and we need to do this or something to that effect and be enthusiastic about it. But if we don't follow through, then it's commitment. It's worthless. Not commitment's worthless, but not following through is worthless. As I look around my barn, and I've told you about the wall up here, as I look around my barn or my house, I can see that I had a lot of passion to start a project, but my commitment to finish it lacks. That's on me. There's roughly 48 projects that are started and well underway, and they are not finished because of my commitment. That's a personal thing I'm working on. I have excuses. I have time. I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't have desire. It's good enough. But you got to have commitment. You got to follow through. Honesty. Being honest can be challenging as it requires addressing both positive and negatives. Be honest with people. It doesn't help you. It's so hard to remember the lies. I never had a problem with that. I am honest to a fault. I speak honestly, whether you like it or not, because I got too much going on in my brain to remember what I lied about. Empathy. Try to understand things from your team's or family's perspective. Forgot to mention, the original version of this book had 2 chapters, one for leadership for your family, one for leadership for your work or friends or not your family. And basically, they're the same stuff. You just have to approach it in a different way. You can tell an employee to go do something. Do you hear my tone of voice right there? Go do this, Bob. We need this done. Or you can talk to your child or your wife and say, hey, Bob, this has to be done. You know, don't do it like that. This has to be done. Here's your time frame. I'd appreciate it. Get her done. You know, tone of voice. Realize where that person is coming from, where their feelings and their situation is at. Try to have empathy for something. Humility. Humble leaders acknowledge their mistakes, apologize when needed, and always share credit with others. I had a problem with that. I was very prideful, and I still today, like when I say something that there's examples in this video where I was bragging, I giggle, I play it off. So it's still kind of a part of me. I'm very proud of the stuff I've done, but I give credit to God for who I am. He made me. He gave me everything I need to get to accomplish whatever I'm prideful about. Humility. Understand and admit your mistakes. Be there. The role of the leader should be active, not passive. You need to be present physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for your team or family. There's a huge problem in today's society with men, with dads not being in the person's life. They may text and say, hey, you got to do this, but if they aren't doing it, if they're not there, if they're not present, it doesn't turn out the same way. You got to be there. Control the schedule. We've talked about scheduling in previous videos, and it's so important. But you have to choose, at ages appropriate, you have to schedule stuff for your kids. When they get older, you can give them more freedom, but you still have to, hopefully they're making the right decisions, but you have to, when it's important to you, when it's important to the family, you need to control the schedule and make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Hold accountable, doing what you're supposed to be doing. Accountability starts with you. Once you hold yourself accountable, because we're talking about leadership now and being a man, accountability starts with you. Once you hold yourself accountable, extend that responsibility to your team or family. If someone falls short, address it appropriately, adjusting your approach based on the relationship. Holding team members accountable differs than holding your teenage daughter accountable. Values. Clarify your work ethic and your family values. If they don't know what you expect, if they don't know what you believe in, how are they supposed to follow through with that? You have to let them know what your values are. This might get done in time for the battery. I don't know. Let's keep going. Upholding these values is not just responsibility, it is an opportunity to inspire those around you. Oh, there goes the battery. Leadership starts with you. You have to be a good leader. You can tell them to do stuff, but if you're not doing it, I'm speeding up for battery. If you're not doing the stuff you're saying to do, they aren't going to do it. They will for a while, but they'll resent you and quit doing it. You have to show the example. Challenge. Lead by example. Figure out your values and stick to them. Communicate well. Listen with empathy. Everybody's a leader. Every man is a leader, no matter your age. I gave the example of the 12-year-old with a younger sibling. That sibling looks up to you. 90-year-old grandfather. People look up to you, and everywhere in between that. Lead by example. Do what's right. I'm going to end this quick because I don't know how much the battery's going to last. If you liked this video, if you got anything out of it, I'd appreciate a like. Click it. Click it. Doesn't take. Click it. Hit the subscribe button. That's a bigger decision. Have I given you value? Have you appreciated this? Subscribe, because I got a lot more coming. I got a lot more. This is 8, so there's previous videos that you can watch. You can watch them if you don't subscribe, but I'd appreciate it. I hope you got something out of it. This was Leadership, episode 8, and I hope to see you in the next video.